Okay, let's get started. Can you hear me? Welcome, Lisa. Well, thank you. I am actually not feeling very good today. I woke up with a head cold. So I'm like, we just took a quick trip out to Target to get some sinus, medicine. I don't know. It just hit me last night and I woke up with it full blown today. So 'tis the season, right? So just doing the Zycam thing again. Hopefully it'll pass. But sorry, got a little late start because I ran in here with all my cold medicine. All right. Yeah, I might kind of cut this short. I don't really have a ton to talk about today. So if you have anything that you want to share, I'll kind of open it up at the end here, and then we'll just kind of wrap it up before I start coughing and sneezing my way through this. So we'll kind of keep it short and sweet today. How's everything going? Okay. Going good? All right, sorry. Grab some tissues here. Give me 1 second, guys. Going good. How's your the revisions and your tear sheet going? Any questions about that? Okay, good. I had one student ask me about, I guess they made revisions to the billboard, and then they asked me if they needed to revise the ad as well. And I think that if you have revisions that you have to do on your billboard from assignment, from your assignment, you'll most likely have revisions to do on your web ad. Yeah, it just kind of they're both together. And I most likely probably marked up your web ad as well. So just make those changes going forward. Okay, well, let's get started here. Welcome to week 3, live lecture 2. We're like middle of the week. This is like a midterm part of our course here. So it's crazy how quick it goes. But hopefully you're in a good spot kind of making those revisions, submitting your work on time so that you have that time to revise and evolve your work. And that's kind of part of the process. If you're submitting your work late, and I know life gets in the way sometimes, but if you're kind of rushing it, you might not obviously gain as much from the class as you would have if you would have taken your time and submitted your work and went through that process. And also your work, well, obviously the quality of the work will show too. So make sure you're getting that in, your work in on time. Okay, a couple of things that we tackled last time that we met up on Monday, I believe. Today's Wednesday. I'm kind of on a NyQuil foggy-headed mind today, so apologize if I say some weird things today. But yeah, I'll try to keep it together here for a while. So we kind of talked about your discussion 3. You guys are doing great on that, just coming up with some, looking at some brands that work and how they're effective, looking at that. And it's good to kind of take a look at that because we learn from either what works or what doesn't work. So looking at both is really helpful in kind of knowing what to do and what to avoid when you're creating, even just the advertisements, but also your branding campaign pieces being very cohesive, hopefully, and, using the principles of design and all of that good stuff kind of all sets, the foundation of your concepts and makes it more effective. So we're taking a look at that in discussion 3. Make sure you're posting your initial post by midnight tonight for possible full credit. And then don't forget to respond to your 2 peers. We also talked about the ethics and morals in advertising. I think that's a good thing to look at because that is kind of, it's that line that a lot of designers don't know how much power they have and what tools they have to use if they're ever put in that situation. And I'm just putting that out there. You might be totally fine with designing whatever, you know, for whatever. So, but I mean, I'm just kind of putting that information into your hands to say, you know, you do have a say, you do have tools that you can use to work with if you're ever put in a position that you don't feel comfortable. And then we took a look at your assignment 3. We did an overview and then started the demo of your tear sheet. I showed 2 different design examples. And then don't forget, I also posted a student example and announcements for all of the pieces for your final project. So, you know, take a look at that, be inspired by it, see kind of what the end result from one student is so that you kind of know the direction to go. I had a student ask me just recently, emailed me asking, is that exactly how you want the billboard to look for your assignment in assignment 2, you know, being actually mocked up? And I said, no, for assignment 2, you just need a flat file. For your final, you'll need to, you know, make it look like it's a real mock-up. So just kind of keep that in mind. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to blow my nose. 1 second. Okay. All right, so going forward here today, we're going to talk about some trade show booth design tips to think about. Some of it is design related, some of it is related to the space as well. So we'll go over a few of those things today. Just kind of keep in mind when you're designing yours. Now, your assessment 3 will not be your complete design for your booth. It's just going to be sketches. So don't think that you need to come up with a design as of yet. Just kind of start thinking about, you know, the different areas of the booth that's given to you, and start thinking about how you can make that cohesive with your other pieces and how you're going to implement that. So we're going to take a look at that, and then I'll just kind of leave it open to you. I don't know if anybody else will come in here, but I'll just kind of have it open for critique. Like I said, I'm not feeling very good today. I'm kind of talking through my nose, and it's probably really annoying to hear that too. So maybe we'll kind of wrap it up a little. Yeah, a little early. Oh, it's not annoying to you? Yeah, you're being nice now. I feel like I'm like pinching my nose. Talking through my nose. All right, so as we talk about the trade show booth, your trade show booth is a tool that supports your trade show marketing goals. So making sure your goals are properly outlined is a key step in designing your trade show booth. So it's all a big part of the whole package, the whole brand identity of your brand, what you're kind of trying to sell and do and visually communicate and make awareness of. So, you know, think of it as, you know, a part of your brand, your system. And so it's super important to understand key elements and keeping it consistent and also visually interesting so that you're enticing people to your booth. Because if you think about it, people are going there for a reason to a trade show. And typically they're themed. You know, there's a home show, there's like, you know, I'm going to a tattoo show this weekend. It's like a convention. So there's usually a theme. So it's not really like a hard sell. It's a soft sell. People who are really interested in that particular theme or brand or whatever products are going there for a reason. Yeah. So, you know, the only bad thing about it is you have so many people who are like you, your competitors all around you. So I guess that could be looked at as a positive thing too. So you really want to make sure that you're kind of differentiating yourself with your trade show booth as well as your other materials so that you're, you know, standing out in a good way. Yeah, so going to a tattoo convention this weekend should be interesting if I'm feeling okay. So it's just kind of cool to go to those things and just see what's out there. But trade show booths are definitely the standard thing out there in conventions. I'm sure there'll be a ton of them this weekend. I should probably, maybe I'll take some pictures to show you guys. Maybe different than what you guys are designing for, but, you know, could be kind of cool to see something, you know, different like that, unconventional, maybe trade show booths. All All right, so as we go forward here, we will be talking about trade show booths. I'm going to kind of stop here and go right into Canvas just so we can take a look at your assessment 3. We'll read over this and let me know if you have any questions, and then I'll go over some of the tips to kind of keep in mind. All right, so you're going to sketch a 3-dimensional design of your trade show booth. So go ahead and read through the background. These are just talking about the overall space of the trade show booth, things that kind of keep in mind. One is obstructed views, foot traffic to kind of be aware of, and hierarchy and depth. So some things to kind of take a look at as far as, also the principles of design, of course, but kind of some things to just be aware of when you're sketching out your design ideas. Okay, so I'm going to read through the prompt here and let me know if you have any questions. All right, so before creating the trade show booth design on the computer in week 4, you are going to explore different design directions using sketches. See the mock-up for the booth layout below so you can see the layout and surfaces you will be designing. You can also read the week 4 assignment instructions if you want further information about exactly what you will be designing. Remember to consider obstructed views, foot traffic, depth, and the principles of design. Also be sure that your trade show booth fits in with the rest of the Most Home campaign you've been designing. So this has 2 parts in it, so make sure you're kind of hitting upon these 2. Number 1, create sketches of 3 different design directions for the trade show booth. Sketches should include details of the individual surfaces and the trade show booth as a whole, including the designated place for the tear sheets that you design in this week's assignment. You can do your sketches on the computer, or you can do them on paper, then scan or take a picture of them. If you don't have another camera, you can use the camera on your school-issued laptop or tablet. Refer to the booth layout below when sketching. Requirements for the final booth design are as follows. So you're going to have a minimum of 4 surfaces must be utilized. That's a minimum. Panels E, so if you look at this example here, panels E through H are the back panels. Those will be counted as 1 surface. So if you make a large graphic for the back wall, that spans across each panel. If a graphic wraps around the desk panels C and D down below here, it counts as 1 surface as well. A mock-up of your tear sheet will go on the brochure rack. Does not count as a surface. However, the sign on the rack I does. You can see that's a surface. Panel A should be done on both the front and side surface. It counts as 1 surface as well. It's kind of like a wraparound. You can add a monitor or other items on the desk if you wish, and keep in mind that the panel's framing must be kept intact. The structure cannot be removed. So the paneling that kind of divides those spaces, that needs to be shown. All right. And then the second part of this is in Word, you're going to write an explanation for each of the 3 design directions, explaining why it would effectively communicate the Most Home message, and also identify which of your 3 designs you feel is best suited for the campaign and why. The paper must be 300 words or more. And the important tip, as you can see, there are many panels to choose from to place your graphics and advertisements to entice people into the booth. A minimum of 4 graphic surfaces is required. Change the colors if needed on other panels and chairs to fit your branding. When you're done, you're going to create a multi-page PDF of the images. Name your files as such. You're going to have, for part 1, you're going to name it DES245 Assessment 3, your first and last name.pdf. And then for the second part, you're going to name it DES245, Assessment 3, first and last .docs for part 2. You're going to submit the PDF and the Word document. Don't forget to keep your native file, so if you need to change anything, you can definitely do that. Any questions about that? All right. So sketches. If you have a Wacom tablet or some type of drawing tablet, and you want to do it on, an Illustrator, that's probably a good way to go about it. And you don't really want to do it on pen and paper, that's fine. If you have pen and paper, pencil paper, that's also good too. Start just kind of thinking about different strategies of images and wording that you're going to kind of wrap around certain surfaces here. I would, if it were me, and you guys have a printer, if you don't have a printer, you can always kind of print this at like Kinko's or something, or I don't know if they have Kinko's out there, FedEx. Print it out and kind of use tracing paper over top, or kind of put a piece of paper over top of it, and then you can kind of sketch it out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then you could start thinking about the panels and kind of playing around with it. I did want to show you some examples of past student work so you guys are, kind of thinking about the final piece and things that you can do. So let me go ahead and bring those up. Give me 1 second here. I think these are all JPEGs, so let me grab some of these. Each of these are different. I'm not saying all of these are, obviously I just pulled some designs here, so they definitely might need some work. But at least you can kind of get an idea of what other people have done. And this is for your final piece, by the way. This isn't what this assessment 3 should look like. Okay, I'm going to mute real quickly here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Blowing my nose. Thank you, Lisa. I'm saying guys, but you're the only one in here. All right. I'm getting through this. All right. So this one is a final mock-up for the trade show booth. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's very clear, sharp. You can see the headline pops out. It's readable. Futures locking up. Safety and security at the press of a button. Right there. Boom. Tells you what it is, sort of in a way, where it's showing the visual graphics that's given to you guys, and then you can see the back panel is implementing the 2 images given to you guys. Notice how some of the type is kind of going over the panels, and I think that's okay as long as you know, if it's written somewhere else too, you can kind of read it there. It can be repeated. And look how the front panel on the C and D, I believe it's, let me see here, C and D? D and C, how that's kind of wrapped around with that logo. All right, guys, okay. So it's contrasted, it's readable. As we go forward in week 4, I'll kind of show you these examples with the tear sheets so you can see that all together with the tear sheets and the web ad and see the consistency between all of them. But I'm just showing you the trade show booths. Okay, notice too, the, let's see, what is it, letter I? Let's see here. Yes. Letter I is showing the information on the top. The tear sheet's not shown in there. What you'll need to do is show your little tear sheet in that little holder there. All right, let me show another one here. Okay, here's another one. Okay, this is where the tear sheet's actually placed in there, so you can get a good idea of what that looks like. A little different of a design. Look at how they did the back wall. They didn't use really any words on the back wall. Maybe you need, maybe you want to. They also didn't use words on the inside panel of, let's see, what letter is that? Nope, there is no letter on the inside part of that. I don't know if the other one did or not. Let me see real quick. No, the other one didn't. I'm talking about the inside part. So yeah, you probably want to stick to the inside, not having that. But you can see protection at your fingertips. They also put a TV on the back wall there. And then obviously the tear sheets. That's another example. Let's take a look at this one. Very clean, simple. The only thing I could say here is I could see the logo is being stretched a little bit. It's kind of like a perspective too on the very top. Kind of interesting where they have the cell phone and the door pointing to the door there. Introducing our new smart lock. They have the lock back there. Tear sheet is not shown in the information shelf though, however. Here's another one. A little different. It looks like the student put the tear sheet in the very top where the letter I is. I would put probably like a signage there just to say for more information or something. And then at the bottom, kind of a little, because that's kind of more of a sign. The tear sheet would be somewhere where you can actually take it out. To a little holder below that. I'm not sure how effective this information down here would be because it's kind of small. You might want to kind of think about maybe not doing something similar to that just because I don't think people would really stop and read that. Maybe the tear sheet for the most part, but something quick and simple is probably best. Here's another one. UPC or QR code is used up here. I don't know how effective that is either because people can't really scan that, you know, being where it's at and so big. But the web address is definitely important there. You know, you definitely can put something like that. I think a lot of people think just having the QR code there is good, but there's so, I don't know, I think it's been on the way out. So if you're looking for, you know, an updated look, you might not want to use, yeah, you couldn't reach it. I don't think a lot of people use it anyway. So it almost dates your work now in a way. You know, is it really usable? Is what you kind of have to think about that. Here's another one. This is a good example of showing the tear sheet kind of shown in all of the 3 slots here. So you could do something like that. Even in the ones that are empty in between, or just kind of skipping those in between is fine too. But, you know, so start thinking about how you're going to set yours up. How are you going to make yours visually interesting? And the sketches will be kind of like thumbnails, whether it be on the computer or on your piece of paper. Just make sure it's, you know, contrasted enough so whenever I take a look at it, we can see, you know, I can see what your theme is. So go ahead and sketch those out. And like I said, I would probably just go with printing out the booth and the actual booth here. And then just kind of sketching it over with tracing paper. Tracing paper is like that. If you don't know where to find that, usually it's like a Michael's or like Staples or someplace that has a lot of paper. The tracing paper you can put right over top. You can see through it and you could just start sketching over top of that. And then whenever you take a picture of it, you could either scan it in or place it over top of a white piece of paper and take a picture of it or scan it in. If you do it, you know, manually with like pencil. It doesn't have to be super accurate though either. It could be a very loose thumbnail where you're kind of looking at this and doing a loose thumbnail next to it, where you're kind of not getting the perfect size ratios. You're just knowing where the elements are going to be placed in there. So as we go into week 4, which we'll be talking about next week, just if you want to read ahead of what's expected in week 4, so this is basically, you're going to be given a high-res mock-up. Let me zoom in here. And the high-res mock-up, you're going to actually be placing your designs into. So what you might want to do too is maybe download the high-res mock-up, print that out, you know, and start sketching. You know, you don't have to start mocking it up, just start sketching it out. Might be a good way to do it too. Okay, and we'll go over that more in detail next week. Any questions about that? Okay, let me take a look here 1 second. I'll find some examples here of, and what you can do is you can definitely, I mean, even though you might not find the exact same booth design, you can definitely take a look at other booths that have different designs to them, different shapes, different backdrops, just to kind of get an idea of how they utilize space and wall space. You know, did they use big graphics? How were the colors? How were the logos placed on there? So you can type in trade show booth examples and kind of look at some other examples that other people have done. And some are kind of really crazy looking, but you guys are keeping it simple. Obviously, some of these are definitely more simple too. But there's all just to kind of show you different examples of surfaces that other people have used as well. There's some with kiosks. This one has like a kiosk to it. So some are more interactive. So it's kind of neat to see the little spaces created. Okay, so thumbnail examples. And design are as such here. And I know you guys have probably done thumbnails before, but they can be very simple. So these are more for layout purposes, but let's see here. Some are more loose. Some are more, you know, kind of just pointing out. You can write notes on there. You could, you know, start just scribbling where, you know, for position only. You can be very loose about it with different elements. Here's a storyboard. It's like a sketch board here. So keep it so that you know kind of what's going on and that I can see the elements that you're working in. Now, some of these are not what we're working on, but you know, obviously you would sketch out your trade show booth and then you would put a little square to represent maybe the headline and write in their headline. You know, does all these lines in here would be for type. So maybe that's something that you would do too. I'm trying to think of some examples here. Come up. Trade show booth examples for thumbnails. Does that look like it? Maybe sketches. And some are mostly mock-ups, but oh, here's one. So this is really kind of, you know, getting the roller out and getting those details down, but you kind of get an idea of, you know, where the graphics will be. You can see this little swoosh here. So you can kind of make those same indications, like see how the sketches here where the name is above and then you have the graphics in there. Let's see if we can click a little bit more on here. So yours will be very loosely based, but I want to make sure that you're kind of thinking about how to wrap certain logos around and headlines. So looking at different sketches will kind of help spark some inspiration too. Sketches and show booths. These are just flat ones here, but you can see that some of them are showing kind of the logo where it'll be placed and all that good stuff. All right. With that being said, if you don't have any questions, we're just going to kind of move forward here and take a look at some tips on how to create effective trade show booths. Welcome, Linda. All right. Whew. Like I said, I'm not feeling too good today, so I'm going to try and get through this, as quickly as possible, unfortunately. Can't breathe. Have a little cold. Fighting a cold here. Don't mind me. All right, so let's take a look at some common trade show goals and tips to when you are thinking about, you know, designing for a trade show booth? Okay, so before you go into your, you know, what you want to do is really search for custom trade show booth designs before you go forward with anything for inspiration, kind of like I showed you, and make a list of key components that you want to include in your booth. So some things to include in your goals is generating leads. Obviously, your trade show booth should be generating leads. This is just the overall goal. Increase brand awareness. So keeping it consistent. You never want to show the logo in any different way other than maybe a different color. If it's, and I don't want to say different color, if it's the original color, you don't, and it's not working on, say, a darker background, you'll need to reverse it out so that it works, but keep it consistent. Generate sales, obviously, that's the purpose of trade show, common trade show goal, attract visitors and promote products and services. So that's pretty much the goal of a common trade show. Some trade show booth design considerations. So take time to view the booths at the shows that you attend. Make note of booths that stand out and what made them impactful. So in regards to that, what you want to do is keep it simple, bold, standout graphics is what really works for trade show booth designs. Large hanging signs that capture the attention of attendees also bring in, you know, entice viewers. Captivating product demonstrations, interactive components. You saw some of them have like kiosks or TV or some type of interactivity going on, whether it be a screen that switches through slides or a video. So, you know, keep that in mind. And so knowing what specific design elements you want to include in your booth will be useful when communicating to your audience. Common design elements that are included with a booth, we're going to kind of talk about here. Knowing what specific design elements that you want to include in your booth will be useful when you're communicating, it says, with the exhibit designer, but you will be obviously the designer in this case. There are different structures. So there's hanging structures. This is an example here. The back walls, you guys are going to be designing back walls. There's towers, counters, meeting spaces. You saw some of those that had like little chairs and a table, media kiosks, product shelving and displays. That's what we'll be kind of including in ours as well. And storage spaces, so counters and closets, etc. So those are some things to, oh, I don't know why it says the date down there. Sorry about that. So what type of exhibit is right for your brand? So when you're building, when you think about when you're building a home, you know, you have those zoning and constrictions that you have to overcome with creative use of space. So any seasoned exhibitor can attest to exhibiting space is both expensive and at a premium at a trade show, necessitating the same creative use of space to maximize impact. So in planning for your next trade show exhibit, you really want to consider the following space-related design concerns. So make sure your trade show exhibit has enough space for booth staffers and attendees. You guys don't have to worry about that because that's already kind of planned out for you. If you want to display products, make sure you can fit them into your booth space comfortably. Consider private conference rooms for your exhibit if you want more intimate space for a meeting. Open layouts can often be more inviting for attendees and prospects. Small spaces can be made to feel larger with archways or overhanging structures. So there's some tricks to the trade there. So the effective use of booth space can reduce wait times for attendees. So potential clients are less likely to linger and want to speak to show staff it's difficult. What to speak to show staff if it's difficult for them to maneuver. And they can find themselves jockeying for space with other attendees. So it's kind of a little uncomfortable spatially there. Okay, there's also tips for storytelling. You know, you're telling a story, the brand story, right? So think about think about transformative moments within your organization that you maybe want to touch upon. Review how your product is made. Is process unique or interesting? Never brag and always be honest with your narrative. Look for ways to spark an emotional response in your audience. Give your audience something that matters to them. Connect with them by understanding their needs. Think about their journey and issues they may have. Really relating to the person and the audience is important because it makes, obviously it makes it feel less fake, more genuine too. All right, so when we're looking at trade show graphics, graphics are arguably the most important element of a trade show booth. High impact graphics are the key differentiator between capturing the attention of attendees and drawing a high volume of booth traffic versus having your booth relegated to being just another exhibit on the crowded show floor. So, with that, what we want to kind of focus is use noticeable colors. So while your coloring scheme should be consistent with your overall marketing design, it should also be bright enough to stand out. So colors that are too drab or neutral tend to cause your exhibit to fade into the background. If your color dynamic doesn't include bright colors, consider incorporating metallic surfaces or interesting textures instead. So make sure your color choices convey the emotions you want to create in your visitors. Attracting prospects is vital to creating a strong return on investment, so it's important to create a high level of visual appeal with the trade show exhibit. That's kind of, obviously we want to stick to the colors that are in our brand too, but we can kind of switch it up maybe in certain ways, maybe pops of color if it works. Don't underestimate the importance of lighting. So a smartly lit home, for instance, can accentuate design features in minimum trouble areas. The same can be said for a trade show exhibit that utilizes lighting in creative and unique ways. So dimly lit displays are common mistakes often seen at most trade shows. A well-lit display is essential, allowing visitors to easily view the important details of your graphics. So additionally, lighting can be used to brighten other key areas of your exhibit, such as product displays and promotional materials. You guys don't really have to worry about that, but kind of something to think about if you are truly designing a real trade show booth. All right, any questions about that? So the whole purpose of that was just kind of give you an idea of things to think about if you are designing a real trade show booth. Just to kind of be more aware of, and then also some key things to think about when you are sketching out your work as well. Okay. Now, I don't necessarily have a demo for you guys. I don't have a Wacom tablet, or else I would probably show you some Sketchworks because I have not been feeling well. I actually meant to do some Sketchworks to show you guys, but I ran out of time with me getting sick overnight. So I did share with you some examples on the website, and I also showed you some student examples just now with the final project. If you have any questions about the sketches that you have to do, let me know now or send me an email because I won't be visually showing you this in a demonstration, unfortunately. I just kind of ran out of time. And I hate to say that, guys, because I'm usually on top of everything. If you have any questions, let me know in regards to the sketches. I think it's pretty similar to like thumbnails. So if you're really familiar with sketching for thumbnails, website pages, doing like wireframes, it's kind of similar to that, only you're using the trade show booth. And I kind of gave you some tips to take a look at, like to kind of think about when you're doing that. And that's all part of your brainstorming process. Sketches. Excuse me. Sketching is important because, excuse me, it's kind of what can get you into really thinking about the space composition and, play around and experiment. So here's some examples again. I just Googled some thumbnail sketches because I'm not, won't be able to show you, you know, my own thumbnail sketches. And they don't have to be this, like I said, this tight. This is like really refined sketches that I'm showing you here. Let's take me into Pinterest here. Another great resource that you can check out. Yeah, so you can kind of see here. Let me open this one here. Oh, I'm going to have to log in. Hold on one second, guys. Log in here. That was a good example because it had shown the, let's see if I can log in here. Oh, it's not letting me. Oh, it did. It did. Hold on one second, guys. There it is. All right. Okay, let me share this here one second. I just went to Pinterest and it's kind of opened up here. So you can kind of see they're kind of illustrating where everything will be very loosely. So you can do the same thing, just kind of place for position only text, stuff like that. Let's see what else. This is on Pinterest, by the way. There was a good one that I clicked on and I missed it. See here, you can see them kind of putting the name or the type there on this one. These are mainly like thinking about different spaces. You guys already have that in regards to, you know, the trade booth is already designed. You're just placing the signage on it, onto it. So, and like I said, what you might want to do is download that high-res template given to you guys, the mock-up, in assignment 4, and then kind of base that off of your sketches since it's like a bigger image. But you can see here they're kind of pointing out certain things, that places that are going to be carpet and all that good stuff. You don't really necessarily have to point that out. I'm just looking for design details. And then your assessment 4 will be your client presentation. So you guys will be including all of the following in your campaign. What would be nice is for you guys to have this kind of all together in a mock-up, and in announcements I posted a student example of what this would look like, minus the creative brief, obviously. So if you want to take a look at this again, here's the example of the student's final project. And there's a few of these online too you could check out on LinkedIn. If you just Google Most Home campaign, you can kind of see other people's examples as well. So this is the tear sheet you guys are working on this week. The photo booth, I'm sorry, the trade show booth will be next week, the mock-up. The billboard, you'll be putting the flat file into mock-up for week 4, and then your web ad. The web ad, you just have it as flat like this. This is a nice presentation because it's very clean and neat. We can talk more about that next week as well. Also, in your video and readings and video section here, don't forget in week 3, you also have resources in here that go over the same things that we're kind of talking about. So let's see here. There's strategy, research, problem solving 1. There was like a sketching area in here. Week 3, maybe it's week 4, let's see. I thought there was a sketching resource in here for your trade show booth, maybe not. Basics of branding, examples of informative advertising. Yes, so that's kind of all you guys are touching upon, some informative information on your tear sheets. You're kind of making it informative and motivational for your tear sheets. That's the key that you're touching upon both aspects for that, hopefully. All right. And like I said, I'm going to keep this a little short today unless you have something to show. I'm going to kind of give the mic to you guys if you want to show anything, want to talk about anything. Like I said, I'm not feeling very well today, and we kind of discussed a lot on Monday. So let me know if you want to show anything or get feedback on anything that you're currently working on. If you have any questions about what we just went over as well. Yeah, thank you, Linda. Yeah, I'm going to try and get some rest here. I still have one more section to grade in this class too, so I'll be chugging along on that today, hopefully getting that back to you guys. And I'll see you guys on discussion boards. Good luck, and if you want to show me anything as you're working on it, send me an email. I'll be glad to give you some feedback. Okay, thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend coming up here, and I'll be talking to you soon. All right, bye, Lisa. Thank you.